Snautra Aure Mazda Ashem Vohu Vahishte Masti Ushtaasti Ushta Ahmai Yah Vahishtai Ashem Baname Ahura Mazda. To think a good thought, speak a good word, to do a good deed is righteousness. Happiness comes to those who live with the consciousness of righteousness. And with that sentiment, ladies and gentlemen, this is Meher Amal Saad and welcome to Ba Humata, a program designed to build oneness with the consciousness of righteousness in humanity. The goal is not to grow the plant but to plant the seed for each one of us to blossom with our own love, light, grace, joy, and peace. So sit back, relax, and get ready for this very special journey to enlightenment. And as you do, please join me in giving a warm Zarathushti welcome to our very own Zarathushti neuroscientist from United Kingdom, Dr. Karishma Khoka.
Welcome everybody. Hamazor, Hama Ashobad, and thank you so very much, Baba Meher, for your kindness and graciousness to bring us all together and present this program to the world. Welcome everybody, Maravala Hamdino, from all over the world. So, Ba Humata is a program of prayer with action and action with prayer, building the flame of fellowship of collective consciousness globally, and bringing Zartushtis together from all over in different continents. I'm very grateful to our BaHumata core team, Meher Amal Saadji, Mobed Sahib Meherban Firuzgari, Mobed Soli P. Dastur and Noshir Dadrawala and Yazdi Tatra, as well as to our wonderful advisors, Ervad Kobad Zerolia, Mr. Sam Arzan Wada, Mr. Petros Levina, Mr. Mickey Mehta, Dr. Mickey Mehta, and Ms. Nina Mistry. And to all those who help us share the message of Asho Zarathushtra via Parsi Khabar, Zoroastrians.net, Parsi Times, Worldwide Zoroastrians, and all other ways, including all those of you who WhatsApp each other, all the details. Thank you. That's perfect. So our young fellowship ambassadors team and the growing team includes Ervad Yazadunwala, Ervad Jehan Kotwal, Ervad Xerxes Bandara from the USA, Tina's Karbhari from Hong Kong, Bena's Nanavati in India, Mazreen Katrik in Australia, and Leah Contractor in Pakistan. Today's flow will include a recording of everything covered by the disclaimer on the webpage, a short introductory prayer by Mobed Sahib Ervad Jehan Bagli. Then we will have an introduction, the speaker's talks, which I'll come back to in a moment. We'll now hand over to Ervad Sahib Jehan Bagli for a short introductory prayer.
Yazdan dadgar dadar ahramazda baname khuda baname yazad bakshayande bakshayad gare mehrabam razish deyao chish deyao mazdadate ashonyao denyao vanghuyao mazdayasnoi دین به راست و در روز که خدای بر خلق فرستاده این است که زرتشت آورده است دین زرتشت دین اورامزد داد زرتشت بی تمام Asho ne Ashem Vohu Vahishtamasti Ushtasti Ushta Ahmai Yah Ashai Vahishtai Ashem. Thank you.
Hamazor, Hama Ashobad, Ervad Sahib, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Today's talks, like all Bahumata talks, will include 3 parts following the Humata, Hukta, and Varshta formula. The concept from the prayer with its significance, a few lines, a few words, or as much as the speaker would like to share with us from the prayers, with meaning, Hukta, and the speaker's own interpretation, with application, leading us to be inspired and take good action, Varshta. We will then have questions for clarification. Please put your questions in the box, in the chat box, address the speaker you would like the question to be put to, and we will unmute you and you can ask your own question. Please keep the topic in mind when you ask your question and keep it specific as questions for clarification. After that, with joy, share with Vahumana how Zarathushti prayers have helped, inspired, or enabled you to have different experiences. If you'd like to share a story about your own Agyari, your own Dasturji Sahib, please feel free to. And then we'll finish with a closing Hambandaki. Now in the next slide, please, Yazdi, we will see how the flow of the Bahumata program evolves, along with a gratitude section. So for Asho Zarathushtra's message of values driving our mind through the concept of Asha, with which we grow our mind and our wisdom and enables us to evaluate through thought, word, and action, so that we can add value to the world and progress our Ramasta's kingdom through our good actions leading to Ushta. Many people have come together in the initial stages of this project. So I'm very grateful to my own grandfather, Ervad Noshirvanji Pestanji Pantaki, and his father, Pestanji Noshirvanji Pantaki Sahib, who was in the JJ Agyari Pune, my guiding light, Mobed Sahib Mervan Firuz Guri, our guiding friend, Mobed Soli P. Dastur, our mentor and facilitator who brings the world together, Mr. Meher Amal Sad, and Mr. Noshir Dadrawala for his support, Mr. Yazdi Tantra for the support and technology and guidance, Mr. Rohinton Munshi for inspiration, and for giving me the environment to experience the prayers and come up with this idea. My gratitude to the ZTFE, including Mr. Malcolm Debu, Mr. Rusi Dalal, our wonderful Mobeds, Mobed Saib Badha, Madan, Unwala, Writer, Bedvar, and Vajifdar, for encouragement to Mr. Darius Potel and the family of Dr. and Mrs. Munshi. And gratitude to all our Shavans, the families of everyone here, all of you today, and my parents. In the next slide, what you will see are the principles of Ba Humata are 4: to conserve and share the knowledge in the Zarathushti Daena, the prayers, the principles, the practice, and the guidance it provides for all aspects of life. To honor the priests and the knowledgeable elders through whom we receive this knowledge. To bridge a communication between the elders and the youth so that we empower the youth with knowledge and good leadership for the good of all. So that through our good thoughts, which is the meaning of Ba Humata, with good thoughts, we can grow this fellowship and build world peace, happiness, and prosperity for all. So that we grow in our journey from Asha, which is purity of all forms and the truth, to Ushta, happiness, rejoicing all good actions done with the wisdom of the good mind for the good of all, as in Yasna Ha 28.1. Last month, we saw how good thoughts relate to action through the Ashem Vohu prayer. And we had Vada Dasturji Sad Khurshid Dastur, Mobed Zaksis Bhandara, Dorab Mystery, and Danny Master. And a beautiful summary is what's on your screen from my dear Baba Meher, where it says, do what is right, not because it is just right, but it is the righteous thing. Because right only has an I, whereas righteous has an I and an us in it. So thank you for that lovely summary, Baba. Today we will have talks from Ervad Sahib Jehan Bagli, Mobedyaar Mahshad Khosraviani. Then we will have Sheherezad Kapadia from the UK, who's our first proactive speaker who volunteered to share with us rather than just being invited. Then Ervad Jahan Kotwal, and then we'll finish with Mr. Byram Avari from Pakistan. Jehan Bagli first, beg your pardon. Ervad Sahib, over to you.
Well, to start with, it is truly exhilarating to see that in 21st century, we can bring Zoroastrian seniors and youth on a common platform to discuss the faith and its other topics. History has shown that faith of Asho Zarathushtra, the teachings of Asho Zarathushtra, have always emerged stronger through the periods of distress and persecution. We have seen this even in North America, diaspora, the evolution of Faizana. It is through the efforts of men and women with wisdom, Rohinton and Roshan Rivetna, Dr. Dolly Dastur, Firdosh Mehta, Homi Gandhi, and others, who have tagged the institution through its infancy and brought it to a stage of strength and stability to hand it over to the energetic and exhilarating youth like Arzan Wadia. One of the reasons I feel the success of these individuals is because they have led a prayerful life. And this brings me to the topic of the day. What is a prayerful life? How does it differ from a life of prayer? A prayerful life is a true and constant conscious awareness of the divinity Mazda in all that they think, in all that we do, and in all that we speak. It is a way of living that is in close awareness of God in every walk of life. It is a way to live the religion of Mazda Yasna. Oftentimes, individuals living a prayerful life do not even attribute their success to themselves, but they attribute their success to the divine essence within them. The belief that God is omnipresent entails that the essence of the supreme divinity is unambiguously present in each and every human being, regardless of the faith of the individual. Zoroastrianism recognizes this essence as Fravashi. The presence of this divine spark makes each one of us an envoy, an advocate of Mazda to perform his work on this corporeal planet. The prayers are an alliance. It is a bond that we establish, the unison between Ahura Mazda and the spiritual energy within. Through the service to mankind and creation at large, one establishes this bond, this divine bond of closeness. To serve humanity is to serve God. That is a manifestation of a prayer. true devotions for the divine emanates in living the religion through good actions. Zarathustra, in his very first hymn, verse 11, pleads to God, saying, Fro Mazda Sisha Twama, Vochange Menyush, Hachatwa Yongo, Yaish Angevus, Paurayodava. This is interpreted, teach me to speak the thoughts of your mind and the words of your mouth, through which the pristine life shall be established. And he realizes his reward through the vision of God in his mind when he says in Yasna 43, I realized thee, Lord wise, when I was encircled by you, the enlightenment through good mind. These words of the prophet unequivocally reveal how one can, in fact, practice the words of the prayer to chart out a devotional life through one's actions. Actions may be lost in the triad of thoughts, words, and deeds, but they are of utmost importance in the actual living of the life. This is the reason why when we put the knots on the kashti, we said put them at the word shotananam, reminding us of the action. This is the reason why the priest who performs the inner liturgical yasna ceremony climbs up on his seat with the word shotananam. The hymns of Zarathustra clearly define that in corporeal existence, mankind must evolve from manliness to godlike in character. That is amply demonstrated in one of our Avestan hymns by a group of worshippers. This devotional hymn is the yasna of 7 chapters, traditionally known as Yasna Haptan Haiti or Haptan Yash. It is in this prayer that we come across the word Yazamaide for the first time, meaning we worship. It is the prayer that demonstrates the fellowship and the oneness among mankind. We also notice for the first time in this prayer the pivotal aspects of Ahura Mazda addressed collectively as Amesha Spenta. Among these emanations of Mazda are the principles through the practice of which one can evolve from corporeal to the spiritual to lead a prayerful life through the service to mankind and the divine cosmos. Zoroastrian faith asserts mankind as the primal creation, which is assigned the task to be the steward of the divine cosmos. Humanity, therefore, has an obligation to adopt the thought process in consonance with the universal mind, the ideal Vahumana of the Creator. Mankind is also gifted with a spark of this universal mind. As the guardians of the creation, human thinking must be synchronous with that of Ahura Mazda. That is a prayerful way of thinking that can permit mankind to progressively fulfill the divine mission of delivering the rule of righteousness in the corporeal world. From hymns of the prophet, we learn that the Spentomad, the progressively benevolent mental aspect that projects the divine will, is the driving force of the thought process of Ahura Mazda. The hymns of the prophet resolutely demonstrates in Yasna 44, verse 7, with the words Twa Mazda Spentamenu Vispanam Datarem. Mazda is the creator of all through this benevolent mental aspect Spentamenu. Zarathustra unequivocally teaches that just as Mazda, through the progressively benevolent mentality, Spentamanu, has created this bountiful universe, so can mankind, by following this holy mental aspect, generate words stemming from the thinking of their good mind to perform acts of piety to preserve and protect the creation. Preservation of the creation and environment in this manner is a mode of devotional worship of supreme divinity in a prayerful life. This mode of thinking can reveal to us the fundamental law that governs the order of nature, the basic principle of Asha. This principle of global truth pervades through the functioning of cosmos. The recognition of this truth of mind and spirit can guide mankind to gradually transform the corporeal creation to evolve it in close resemblance to the divine dominion where the rule of truth and good thinking prevails. This is the fundamental goal of the Zoroastrian way of a prayerful life, living through the practice of good thinking and righteousness renders an invaluable service to humanity and creation as a whole. It is the practice of these bountiful immortal Ba and Ashavahishta that evolves a prayerful way of life that manifests as an act of worship that surpasses any life filled simply with the recital of prayers. The practice of these aspects of Mazda in physical existence leads to the emergence of a state of piety, Spentomad, that harmonizes human mentality with the holy mentality, Spentomanu, the human will with the will of God, that is Asha. A prayerful life is the pathway to transform one from the physical to the spiritual, from the manliness to the godliness. I would like to conclude with the quote that Pope Francis recently said, "Rivers do not drink their own water. Trees do not eat their own fruit. Sun does not shine on itself. Flowers do not spread their fragrance for themselves. Living for others is a rule of nature. We are born to help each other. Life is good when you are happy, even better when others are happy because of you." Quote close. Asho Zarathushtra, some 4,000 years before Pope Francis, summed up this notion in a short phrase, Ushta Ahmai Yah Ahmai, Ushta Kammai Chit. Happiness be the lot of him who works for the happiness of others. This is the power, strength, and reward of a prayerful life. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be a part of this session.
Thank you so much, Ervad Sahib Bagli. Everybody, through Ervad Sahib's own action in just forgiving me for not introducing him, he has demonstrated once again the magnanimity of his heart. Ervad Sahib, maaf karjo mane. I will just introduce Ervad Sahib, although his actions have spoken louder than words once again.
Thank you.
Ervad Sahib Jehan Bagli is a highly respected North American Zarathushti and a scientific scholar who, through his professional excellence, personal achievements, and meritorious community service, has brought recognition to the Zarathushti community in North America and the world over. He has over 60 publications and 49 US patents. He has represented Fezana at the Parliament of World Religions. Ervad Jehan Bagli is an accomplished Zarathushti scholar and researcher with a distinctive stellar record of being an ordained Zoroastrian priest for over 80 years, for which he truly deserves a magnanimous global round of applause.
Thank you.
Dr. Bagli obtained his doctorate in medicinal chemistry from the University of London. He served as the Director of Research and retired as the Distinguished Research Fellow of the Wyeth Arist Pharmaceutical Research in 1997. After 37 years of outstanding service, directing research in medicinal chemistry. Dr. Bagli is an ordained priest through the Navar and Martab ceremonies. He was the founding member and the president of the Zoroastrian Association of Quebec from 1968 to 70 and 74 to 76. The editor of Gavashni, a North American Zarathushti publication, for over 16 years, from 74 to 1990. And the founding editor of the Fezana Journal in 1988 and served up to 1990. Ervad Bagli has also served as the president of the North American Mabed Council, the NAMC, from 2002 to 2008, and was the chairperson of the Research and Preservation Committee of the Federation of Zoroastrian Associations of North America, Fezana, from 2001 to 2017. He is also a member of the International Board of the World Zoroastrian Organization. He has lectured extensively on numerous religious topics at various conferences and symposia. These include the North American Zoroastrian Congress at Toronto, Chicago, California, Vancouver, Philadelphia, and New York, and at various Anjumans in North America. He was also invited by various Zoroastrian associations to give lectures in India, Pakistan, Australia, and South Africa. Some of his favorite topics have been duality, rituals, priesthoods, jashans, navjots, fire, universality, and Judaism, as they relate to the Zarathushti religion. Ervad Bagli has authored and co-authored several books on religious practices and has been published widely on a variety of topics on the religion of Zarathustra. He is also the co-author of several papers, Understanding the Practice of the Jashan Ceremony in 2001, Understanding and Practice of Obsequies of 2006, Understanding and Practice of Navjot and Wedding Ceremonies 2010, and the Understanding and Practice of the Concise Navar ceremony in 2014. Most importantly, he is the author of Religion of Asho Zarathushtra, An Influence Through the Ages in 2003. He has also co-authored a book on congregational prayers in 2007. Most recently, he has been the author of the Zoroastrian Theology and Eschatology in the Encyclopedia of Indian Religions. He was also the section editor for Zoroastrian religion for the encyclopedia that was published in 2018 by Springer Publications. Dr. Bagli was a recipient of the Gold Medal of Indian Pharmaceutical Association, as well as fellowships from the US Public Health Service and the US National Institution of Health and the National Research Council of Canada. He is also an elected fellow of the Chemical Institute of Canada and received the Award of Excellence in Profession or in Business from Fezana in 1994. He was recognized by the Zoroastrian Society of Ontario, Zoroastrian Association of Quebec, Zoroastrian Association of Greater New York, and the Ontario Zoroastrian Community Foundation with an award in 2005. In 2017, at the 30th anniversary celebration of the Federation, Dr. Bagli was bestowed with Fezana's highest award, the Lifetime Achievement Award, which recognizes a highly respected North American Zartushti. Now, his contributions, his achievements, and his devotion to the Zoroastrian faith we have heard. We have seen his magnanimity. And I request you all once again to please give this wonderful Zartushti scholar and researcher our deepest gratitude from our heart and spirit for his selfless service to our community and to humanity. Thank you, Ervad Sahib. And may I express my gratitude to Meher Amal Saji for writing this beautiful biography, as well as all the other biographies. Our next speaker is Mobedyaar Mahshad Khosraviani. She's well known globally for approaching the topic of Iranian and Parsi relations from a unique paradigm, and is wholeheartedly committed to making them feel more connected by showing how to celebrate our differences and acknowledge our similarities with dignity and respect for all. By offering her rare insights as a female Mobedyaar and as a student of Zoroastrianism. Mobedyaar Mahshad Khosraviani was born and raised in Tehran. She and her family migrated to Toronto, Canada in 2000. It was only then, when she first realized the grave matter of her religion and culture, that she became an active member of both the Irani and the Parsi communities in Toronto. Prior to her ordainment as a Mobedyaar in 2012, she had been teaching the Avesta classes and working with children, preparing them for their Navjots, writing articles for the Zoroastrian Society of Ontario and the Huffington Post newsletter, and acting as the guest speaker on Radio Asha. Mobedyaar Mahshad is the first Zartushti lady Mobedyaar in North American continent who was officially ordained in the summer of 2012 and has been endowed with the honor of becoming the youngest female Zoroastrian Mobedyaar in Iran and the first in North America, the fruitful outcome of a formidable venture. She is also the only ordained Mobedyaar in the Zoroastrian world who is recognized by both the American Mobeds Council as well as the Iranian Mobed Council. She is currently the secretary for the World Zoroastrian Organization in Canada. Mobedyaar Mahshad has secured a double major in international business law at the Schulich School of Business and Human Resource Management at York University in Toronto, Canada. She has been requested to conduct numerous religious functions and communal events around the globe, including in Italy, United Kingdom, America, Canada, Iran, Australia, and Germany. She is also the featured speaker at the 2019 7th World Zoroastrian Youth Congress in Los Angeles, California, and was recently showcased on the episode 3 of the Zoroverse podcast, titled, Our Differences Make Us Glorious. With that sentiment, ladies and gentlemen, please join us in giving a warm Zarathushti welcome to this amazing young lady who's making an awesome difference in our global Zarathushti community. Mobedyaar Mahshad Khosraviani, representing both Canada and the United Kingdom. Over to you, Mobedyaar Mahshad.
Thank you so much for the kind introduction. Hello, everyone. It is truly an honor to have been welcomed into your homes today via Zoom. Thank you. I honestly have no idea how I'm going to follow after Jehan Bagli's wise words. He is an amazing soul, as obviously you heard, whose love and support has been a cherished gift that I have been blessed with. I have learned so much from him over the years and hope to continue so in the years coming. He has been an amazing mentor, one that I am forever grateful. So I like to take a different approach in discussing today's theme. A prayerful life is more meaningful than a life full of prayers. And I like to do so by sharing a personal story from my childhood that transformed my mindset tremendously. So I was about 8 years old, and I remember vividly holding my late grandmother's hand while walking home from school in Tehran, and just discussing my homework for the day with her when we approached a little boy, probably no older than I was, trying very hard to sell gum to a passing pedestrian. I recall asking my grandmother, why was he so dirty, and how come his mom was not with him, as my brother and I were not allowed to be alone in public at that age. My grandmother explained to me, as she kindly gave the little boy money and bought a small packet of gum, that some people are born in different lifestyle than us and have no control over their circumstances. By judging another human, we don't define them, we define ourselves. She continued on saying that we are all wonderful creatures of this universe. And it can be difficult to give the needy without judging the circumstances surrounding the need. But with Ahura Mazda's guidance, we can act in generosity and love. Appreciating the good that we already have in our lives is the foundation for all goodness, and sharing it with others is how we can live according to Asha. Growing up, my grandmother would always tell me that prayer requires action. A prayer without action is just noise. My parents have taught my brother and I that any act of kindness, no matter how small, will create a ripple. And it is of value to say that being kind without expectation is the truest form of kindness. We read in Gatha Yasna 12, he receives the best from the most progressive mentality, who speaks words of good mind with his tongue and performs with his own hands deeds of serenity. Prayer requires action on our part. Too many who pray fail to follow up their prayers with action. They pray and seek Ahura Mazda for a need in their life, finish praying, and then sit back waiting for Ahura Mazda to meet their need. We must never forget that we pray out of faith, and true faith requires action. We must be active participants in seeing our prayers answered. My parents would always tell my brother and I that we must be the change that we wish to see in the world, to do to others as we wish to be done to us and our loved ones. I think a prayerful life is one that is led according to Asha, truth. It is a choice, it is a mindset, choosing to be aware of our words, choosing to live an integrous life, choosing to pass our wisdom, strength, and love instead of suffering, and choosing to forgive. I think that's how one can truly live a prayerful life. We live in a world where we speak words and we don't even think about what we're saying. We say things just to say them without understanding the impact of our words. Our words are powerful. We have the power to inspire someone or destroy one's happiness only using our words. One can live according to their prayers by being mindful of their words. Huchta, good words. Living a prayerful life, in my view, means having integrity, living with love, with kindness, with gratitude, and with forgiveness. Forgiveness is a powerful tool that we have at our disposal. Choosing to forgive is a tremendous choice. It is a path that carries phenomenal results because forgiveness is a gift that you give yourself. Forgiveness can lead to happiness, love, and unconditional gratitude. By choosing to take action, following our prayers, choosing kind words, living an integrous life, choosing to help the less fortunate, choosing to not judge another human, and choosing to forgive is how I think one can truly live a prayerful and impactful life where they will be remembered for their kindness and grace. It would be fitting to conclude by echoing the words of the famous Persian poet Hafiz. Even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, "You owe me." Look what happens with a love like that. It lights the whole sky. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mahshad. Mobedyaar, you've really talked and explained so beautifully, seamlessly tying in the Yasna Ha 30.2, where we say listen, reflect, and then choose for oneself, each one for oneself. Kakaya tanuye narem narem. Thank you. With what beauty you speak. Thank you. Our next speaker is our first proactively volunteered speaker. She came to us saying, "May I please share something?" And of course, Baba Meheranayana, in the way of Zarathustra, says, "Please share." So Sheherezad Kapadia is a very special young lady. She's the president of the UK Young Zoroastrians, and has been officially nominated by the ZTFE to the chair of the 2023 8th World Zoroastrian Youth Congress in the United Kingdom, to which, of course, you're all invited. It is said, an apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. From a very young and tender age, Sherry, if I may call you Sherry, was inspired by her parents, Ruby and Firoz, who dedicated their lives towards the charity sector of humanity. Alongside this, Sherry's also blessed with amazing grandparents, Dan and Rusi, who served as the guiding light for building her career endeavors in healthcare. Auntie Dan is a true inspiration. I've had the good fortune of meeting her. Sherry is passionate about bringing the young Zoroastrians of the United Kingdom together with a pristine goal to ensure that our community provides an inclusive space where people feel accepted and understood. She is currently completing her master's in occupational therapy and has previously worked as a therapy assistant to children and young people within the mental health setting. With a passion for research, Sherry has a keen interest to investigate issues of inclusion and health disparities within the remit of health and social care. Alongside this, she has also founded a research journal club within her occupational therapy school in order to aid conversations around the importance of respecting one's culture within clinical practice. With an ambition to become a qualified occupational therapist in the field of mental health, her prime focus is on helping young people who are in need of mental health care services. She's passionately committed to raising awareness around the stigma and the common misunderstandings of mental health, and hopes to shed light on how we in the Zarathushti community can strengthen our bonds to further support and accept one another. She says, and I quote, "It is my hope that our younger generation can be an example of how non-judgmental mentalities and kindness can really help this world to become a better place." Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a heartwarming welcome to this lady with a heart, who's on a journey to enlightenment for making a difference in humanity. Our very own Sheherezad Kapadia from the United Kingdom, whose buzzword is collaboration. Over to you, Sherry.
So thank you so much for having me today. It's been wonderful to listen to all the speakers and all the speakers in the previous episodes. Today, I have a very short piece I want to share with you all. And I would like to begin by thanking Ervad Dr and his principal Ervad Dr. Ramya Karangia. In the Yenghe Haataam prayer, all living men and women are remembered and respected who excel in goodness on account of their diligence for the truth. What I interpret from this is, while there is not a direct report of equality, there is a responsibility bestowed on both women and men to do good. So tomorrow, on the 8th of March, we have International Women's Day, which is a wonderful time to continue caring and celebrating for one another and the women within this community. Some ways in which we can care for one another are by celebrating the wonderful achievements of women in our community and beyond, and the achievements of all of us together as a whole, appreciating one another, our triumphs, and even trying to reciprocate in some of the roles that we do for each other. And finally, by educating ourselves on our history as a community and the long history of women, and amplifying those voices. I'd like to finish by saying that I've worked in the mental health services for a number of years, and if there is one thing I truly take away from my time there, it's the strength of communal and community validation, supporting one another, accepting things that we might not understand, but going and learning more about them, and validating one another and telling each other things are okay and we'll work together to overcome them. I'm sure this is something we can do more of, and I think it's something we've done great so far. I hope you will have a wonderful rest of the day, and if you are celebrating tomorrow, I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Sherry. And on that note, I'd also like to thank all the gentlemen in our lives, our fathers, our brothers, our mentors, our uncles, our teachers, our friends. Thank you all for what you do to facilitate our voices reaching the world. Thank you, Baba Meher. Our next speaker is Ervad Jehaan Kotwal, or as he likes to be called, just very humbly, Jehan Kotwal. He is a seeker and a believer of the Zarathushti mantra, to be happy, make others happy, which you just heard in our speeches, the Yasna Ha 43.1. Because he firmly believes that creating value is the sole purpose for which we live. To take a life and to make it reach its full potential is what excites him as the Global Youth Director of the World Zarathushti Chamber of Commerce. At the young age of 30, Jahan Kotwal has swiftly become one of the most highly sought after young entrepreneurs to look out for, because he believes in combining a personalized attention with innovative thinking for producing success. Not only has he taken over the family company JFK Transporters, but has also taken it to new heights with a clear vision by opening offices all over the country, introducing new technology, and contributing to the field of road transportation. Winning the Castrol Best Transporter Award and the Ministry of Road Transport Award recently is testament to that. His business model advocates complete transparency and looks for what creates value for his customers to deliver long-term success with honesty and integrity. And he firmly believes that as a business enterprise, it is our duty and responsibility to contribute to the welfare of society and of humanity. Starting his first venture at the age of just 17, Jehan has dedicated work ethic and pours vigorous passion in whatever he does. Being a Zoroastrian priest and international level sports champion in skating and swimming has helped him, he says, lead a well-balanced life. After completing his major in entrepreneurship and minor in international studies from FLAME, the Foundation of Liberal and Management Education, in 2012, Jehan Kotwal has been leading JFK Transporters and Ava in Logistics, one of the most reputed transportation services in India. JFK Transporters provides a complete end-to-end logistics support. As the company's core competency lies in safety transport, it has its own fleet of trailers and trucks with the most advanced safety features in the country. Jehan has introduced in his latest technological development in the field of road logistics to continue to be the leader in this segment. At the age of 17, Jehan founded a cafeteria on his college campus, FLAME, and from a two-product operation, he and his two partners turned it into a 200-product operation in just 3 years with 4 different cuisines. They have served over 5,000 students in the many college campuses all over Pune. Jehan's latest social venture startup, The Good Mind, is using artificial intelligence to save over 250 lives every day in road accidents. With Hum Safer Foundation, his NGO, he's also working on rewarding drivers for correct driving practices and driving welfare. The vision for both organizations is to have 0 road accidents and prosperous truck drivers in India. He's also actively involved in the WZCC as the Global Youth Director and assists different businesses, startups, and consults young entrepreneurs on their ventures. He believes in having a balanced life by giving all aspects of his life equal priority. With that sentiment, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a warm Zarathushti welcome to our very multi-talented and promising young leader from India, Jehan Kotwal.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Karishma, for that wonderful introduction. I'd like to start off by saying that this program itself is a testament to your and Meher's amazing ability to get everyone from around the world together for this wonderful cause, and I'm glad to be a part of it. And I hope to see this and grow into a far, far more impactful and more prosperous setting that in the future as well. I'd like to start off, since the theme is a prayerful life, and I would like to start off by mentioning that even though I am a priest from Navsari, and I come from the priestly Kotwal family, I'm not a practicing priest. But the fortunate part of the whole experience has been that when you come from a tradition of priests, you have this innate sense of what is right and what's wrong, whether you're doing business or you're in a certain profession. And that guiding light always takes you in the right direction. For me, it has been in the form of Vahumano, which is good mind. And I have subsequently named one of my new latest companies Good Mind as well. But the idea is that before I jump into what each of the companies or what we do or how we actually practicing a prayerful life in our lives through an example of what we have been doing in our ventures, I'd like to just give all of you a quick brief on where or how my life has passed through and why the whole philosophy of Humano is so important for all of us in business or in our regular lives, in professions as well. I think it would be a good start to say that it began with my father, and who was a truck driver, and he started from the very scratch. And ideally, any young child looking at his father drive a truck would be very enamored by this whole experience. And my younger brother and me, we would see him work extremely hard. And over the few years that as we grew older and older, one of the things that he would keep teaching us, even though we were becoming prosperous in our business, was to stay humble and to stay united as a family. And the biggest thing is be good human beings. I was terrible in studies, and that never mattered to my parents so much. What really mattered to them, and I think that is a big part of what it is to be Zoroastrian, is the fact that you must be a good human being and help people as much as possible. So I'd like to start off by just saying that I think one of the beauties of our religion culture is the fact that we are always in a charitable mindset. If you look at the entrepreneurs in India, if you look at the entrepreneurs globally, it is always about creating large sums of wealth and also then passing it on for the betterment of society. That's fundamentally what I am also trying to do as well. I think the reason why I joined the transport business was when I used to see the beggars on the street in India, it just would not really go, it wasn't very comfortable and it would make me very disturbed. So I decided that, and I see my father would say that anybody who can't do anything becomes a truck driver. So the idea was that pick up anybody who is jobless or can't do anything and just give them a job and hopefully empower them through trucking, which is one of the big reasons why I joined the business and took it forward. I think what also helped simultaneously was my active involvement with WZCC, which led me to see the impact of how entrepreneurship can actually help people. And instead of just giving them the fish in terms of charity, we could actually teach them how to fish and create leaders in our community, help businesses scale. One of the big challenges we used to see when we had started the WZCC Youth Wing was the fact that entrepreneurs or youngsters who wanted to start businesses didn't have the funding needed. So we started the Shark Tank, which is today's Tiger's Den. Hopefully we'll be having the next one in the UK as well, where entrepreneurs can pitch their business ideas and get funding for their businesses and hopefully grow. We had a very successful one in LA as well. I think one of the beauties of joining organizations like WZCC, Faizana, is that you can, apart from your work, you can actually impact society in various forms. And fundamentally, one of the very recent projects that we've started, which is also part of the whole Good Mind project, is jobs for every Zoroastrian. That's also something that in the professional field, we realized during COVID, many people were losing jobs. And it was just the right thing to do, where we could reach out to our network and hopefully help more people. But fundamentally, all these ideas, whether we do it through an organization or a combined set of people, I think it all comes down to where it starts, which is here. And I'd like to also share with you what Karishma was talking around, what we are doing in the technology space. So a small story was that when I recently became the safest transporter in India, I realized that my technology had the capability of not only making our company the #1 in India, but also becoming very unique in its own USP. it's a unique technology that can actually help drivers drive better. I had two choices. Either I could be selfish and say that, oh, this is a USP for my company, and I'm going to build another 1,000 trucks. Or I could say that, we could potentially be saving so many lives a day, X number of lives. We lose about 400 in India every day in road accidents, and about 65% is due to truck collision. It was a conscious choice. I sat down with my father and we decided that it makes sense to give this technology for free to the world. And so that's where the idea of the foundation was born. And that's where the idea of Good Mind, where this technology resides, is born. I think when we start thinking and outside of just the regular, way of making money, because money ultimately, sorry, my 5 minutes are up, but money basically is a means to an end. But if we can actually use our expertise, our mindset, and actually help the people around us and truly practice Vahumano in whatever small way, it really can make a difference. I've seen in WZCC, just for example, it's given me far more than what I have given the organization. And I encourage all youngsters and seniors as well to please take part in as many community or your society social ventures. I think fundamentally that's what it means to be a Zoroastrian. And it's very, very hard having a good mind and practicing Bahumano, especially in a country like India when you're surrounded by inequality and poverty. But one has to have the fortitude and that mindset to say that no matter what, keep having the positive thoughts, the positive mindset, keep moving forward, create immense amount of wealth and give it back to society, which is the whole point of, in my opinion, the point of having large businesses. Examples like the Tatas and the Godreges exist, and we can be those, and it's very much possible. So that being said, the last point I would just like to make is you can't change or control anything anyway. The only thing that you can is your mind. And if you have a good mind, I'm sure if every one of us, not only Zarthushtis, every human being across the world has a good mind, this world would be a better place to live in. Thank you so much. It's great to have this platform to speak. Thank you.
What a powerful share. Wonderful. You can see the hands and the thought of coming together to be stronger together. By the way, Ervad Jehan has also been a great COVID hero, making a whale of a difference to the lives of people and people he works. I think he says works with, but people who actually work for him. And I hope he will talk about that and somebody will ask him more about that later on. Now, our next speaker. For me, it's like a grain of sand talking about a mountain, a very big mountain. Our next featured speaker, whom I'm about to introduce, comes from a family of philanthropists whose humanitarian, charitable, social, and communal services have earned the recognition and respect of the Zarthushtis, as well as all sections of society in Pakistan, because he truly believes in caring for people from womb to tomb. Justice of Peace and Honorary Consul for Canada, Mr. Byram Dinshawji Avari, is an astute Pakistani businessman and twice Asian Games gold medalist, who has been listed as a noteworthy hotelier by the Marquee Who's Who for his exemplary service. Together with his two sons, he owns and operates as the chairman of the Avari Group of Companies. Presently, he is serving as the chairman of the Karachi Parsi Anjuman Trust Fund, chairman of the Jahangir Rajkotwala Bagh Trust, and the chairman of the Parsi New Year Celebration Committee. He is also a member of the National Tourism Coordination Board of the Prime Minister of Pakistan and an honorary member of the World Zarathushti Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Avari was awarded the President's Gold Medal, the Pride of Performance Award for Sports in Sailing, as well as the Corporate Excellence Award by the President of Pakistan. He was also decorated by the Canadian government with the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal and a special shield for his remarkable service as the Honorary Consul for Canada for 38 years. He and his wife Gospi were also featured on a Pakistan commemorative postage stamp that was specially issued in their honor. In addition to that, he has been bestowed with the distinctive honor by the government of Pakistan to serve as the member of the Parliament, Majlis-e-Shura, Government of Pakistan, member of the Parliament, National Assembly of Pakistan, the Federal Parliamentary Secretary for Planning and Development, a Pakistan delegate to the United Nations General Assembly, the member of the Federal Advisory Council for Minority Affairs, member of the Pakistan Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto's entourage to Malaysia for Commonwealth Heads of Government meetings, as well as to Turkmenistan and Ashgabat. He's also the member of the Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif's entourage to Uzbekistan. Member of delegation from Pakistan of the Canada-Pakistan Business Council to attend meetings at Montreal, Ottawa, and Toronto to develop investment interest in Pakistan. And with numerous other national and international recognition accolades. With hotel management as the Avari Group's core business in Pakistan, the group owns and operates Avari hotels, which include 5-star deluxe Avari Towers, the seafront 4-star beach luxury hotel in Karachi, and Avari Lahore Hotel. They have branched into 4-star hotels in other cities of Pakistan under the name of Avari Express Inn, 2 hotels in Multan, 1 boutique and 1 express, another 210-room hotel in the main Gulberg Boulevard, Lahore, Islamabad, and Faisalabad. Next year, the Avari Express in Gurjanwala, Burban, Naltar Valley, and Gilgit will be operational. Negotiations are also ongoing for Hyderabad, Sukur, Sialkot, and Murree. In spite of being one of Pakistan's leading iconic businessmen, this is what makes him a 5-star Zarathushti. In 2020, the Avari Hotel set a new example of service. Due to the coronavirus, 5 of his hotels in Pakistan were closed for over 3 months. But under his dynamic and humanistic leadership, they were still sending salaries to all of their 3,000 plus employees sitting at home. With that sentiment of absolute excellence, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a warm Zarathushti welcome to our very own enterprising featured speaker from Pakistan, the Honorable Justice of Peace, Mr. Byram Dinshawji Avari.
Thank you so much, Krishna. You're very kind, actually too kind. I don't know how to say thank you, but I must tell you that you and Mayor have done a great job putting this group together. Apart from that, I think Mayor has done a great job for the whole community by putting the whole community together. And if ever in life Facebook starts charging, it will be because of the WhatsApp messages sent by Mayor every day around the world to keep the community together. Thank you so much, everybody, for all the inspiring speeches. Excuse me for not giving the same interpretation of prayers as others have expressed, but I have my own interpretation of prayers, and I'm not following the sequence. I'm not a scholar of religion, but like Dastuji Jehan Bagli, but I am a staunch follower of our religion and have tremendous belief in our religion. Hope you don't mind me rambling on in my own way. Without downgrading prayers of other religions, let me say that our prayers are the most powerful prayers of any religion. To me, Ashem Vohu are the most powerful prayers. There may be disagreement, but to me, from experience, which I'm going to share, that Ashem Vohu have got such power that is unbelievable. If you are a student in your exams or presenting a paper or before a judicial magistrate or a law officer or doing it in an interview, a silent Ashem Vohu has the power to change the situation in your favor. Try this even when you have worries and cannot sleep at night. You will find that you will go off to sleep immediately. From a personal example, I will tell you that a bogus case was filed against me out of jealousy in 1990. It was a martial law government, and the general ordered I be arrested the next day. He ordered that in front of me. I rang the chief of staff to General Musharraf, who I did not know. And while waiting to be connected, I silently prayed Ashem Vohu, and he got on the line and told me to come with my two sons, Dinsha and Xerxes, to have a cup of coffee. I went to him and told him I wanted to meet General Musharraf. He went into the office of General Musharraf, and I prayed again. And he said, come right in. I explained to General Musharraf that I was being victimized. And he picked up the phone and spoke to the general and said, Mr. Avari is a noble man. And while he was speaking, I was praying, Ashem Vohu. And he said, he's a noble man. Don't touch him, but you can do the inquiry. Now, Nauza Commissariat was the director of finance. And today he's in LA listening to what I'm saying. And he will tell you that we had a tough time for 2 years, but we came out clean. But in every point, Ashem Vohu helped me. I'll tell you another interesting example. James Russell, who's a scholar on our religion, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, was in Pakistan at my invitation. He wanted to go to the northern areas of Kailash, where the road is so narrow that a normal jeep cannot travel, but a Suzuki jeep, smaller one, can travel. And he was looking down the carousel of the mountain. And suddenly he started saying, Ashem Vohu, Ashem Vohu. He couldn't believe it. So eventually I told him, you were speaking involuntarily. He said, yes, but it gave me solace. It gave me strength that I'm not going to fall down into the mountains. We cannot sit and open a prayer book and start praying at each junction. But a silent Ashem Vohu with your lips moving and you're understanding the words without the opposite acts hearing you, works wonders. Ya Beshtarna Tarovish is another one of the names which has fantastic power. I can tell you from my own experience, if you are hurt or if you are going into operation or have excessive pain for some reason, please repeat these words continuously and see the effect it has. This is prayers. These are real prayers which affect your daily life. The Almighty says, ask and you shall be given. So just don't say prayers without asking for His blessings with your request. Blessing, ask for the blessings of the Almighty. You'll get them if you ask for them. This means that prayers are not meant to be said mechanically. Prayers are to be said with thought and understanding and with feeling. And with a feeling, understand every word of the prayer. You don't need to say only the Avesta. You can say your own prayer. But pray, communicate. As a Zoroastrian, don't say, can I do this? But say, I can do this. With commitment and with sincere prayers, you will achieve anything you want. More things are wrought by prayers than by man alone. Remember, more things are wrought by prayers than by man alone. The most difficult things in life can be solved through prayers. I'll give you an example of a Tangewala. His Tanga fell down into a ditch. It was too heavy to be removed. He sat there saying, I have prayed all my life. I have looked after charity. I have done good. I have never harmed. God will take this prayer out. The people from the area, the neighbors came. They put their hands together and said, we'll take the Tonga out. I said, no human being can take this Tonga out of the ditch. They put their hands together, but they all prayed together. With that, they pulled the Tonga out. Prayers, the strength of prayers is unbelievable. So, all prayers can work in all situations. There is nothing that stops you from success as long as you pray and put your shoulders to work. Having said all that, what is prayers? like a radio connecting to BBC or Voice of America or Radio Australia. Good thoughts, good words, good deeds are also the best of prayers. They get you success in your satisfaction of human life, satisfaction mentally, satisfaction physically, acknowledgement of their belief in you. People need to believe in you. If you don't have good thoughts, good words, and good deeds by expressing those, nobody will believe in you. When you help an old man cross a street, this is also a prayer according to me. But if you say or think that helping the man across the street, say, Almighty, look, I'm doing something, it will go against you. Why I'm explaining it, that it should be ingrained into you to help. You should be out there looking to help people. Doesn't matter if the person is a Zarathushti or not. If he's a white, black, yellow, green, makes no difference. You go and help people. If you help people, that is your blessing. It's the Lord's blessings on you. कोई द्वारा भी मरतो हो मानस तेने मर ना हो. Don't tell a man to die. Always give a helping hand to those who are in trouble or in grief or in problem. This means give a helping hand to those who need it most. This also is a prayer. A man in the Agyari saying a prayer and then repeating ditto, ditto, ditto is no prayer. I mean that mechanical praying is no use. It is not a prayer. You can say 2 hours prayers, and yet somebody else may say 10 minutes prayers, but with sincerity, and they have the same meaning and the same connection to the Almighty. Remember, man makes his own destiny, and it's up to you with prayers to change your life and to make it or break it. So do not blame others, as you are fully responsible for what you want to become with or without prayers. Let me give you a practical example of giving a helping hand. Zoroastrian refugees came from Iran during the war with Iraq. At that time, the children were being put in the forefront and were being conscripted. When these Iranian Zoroastrians came to Karachi, they were housed by my father. They were taught English. They were fed by my father. I agree that the money was channeled through the Anjuman, and Anjuman houses were also given, but my father was the main person spearheading this. Now, with half-truths, why I'm saying half-truths is because they were not persecuted because of their religion in Iran. They were running away because conscription, because their children would be killed in the war. So he's conveyed to the Canadian government that these people are being forced for conversion, and he got all of them to migrate into Canada after having learned English. So this is the Zoroastrian spirit of going out of the way, which in itself is also a prayer, looking after people who need help. I would like to give an example of my servant Bhaiya, who came from India, complete illiterate. And when we would ask him, when did Bhaiya, tum kab aaye? When did you come to Karachi? He said, when your grandmother was sick. He was completely illiterate. But in Pakistan, after Ramzan prayer, after breaking the Ramzan fast, the Muslims all stand in a row before they go further. They have a quick bite to break their fast, and they stand in a row and pray. Bhaiya would stand at the end of the line and would we would watch from upstairs from our room. And Bhaiya would be looking at them to what they're doing. They knelt down, he'd kneel down. They stood up, he'd stand up. He didn't know the prayer, but he was communicating with the Almighty. I believe his prayers were as powerful as the prayers of anybody else. So it is a question of communicating, of your question of integrity and your desire to be one with the Almighty. This is the sincerity of prayers, which is the most important aspect of our prayers. So I believe Bhaiya communicated with God in the same way as anybody else. I also believe that our prayers can only be effective if your niyat saaf ho and dhyanat saaf ho. if you don't have integrity of thought and purpose, prayers are not going to help you. You as a human being must show integrity of thought and purpose and have integrity of thought and purpose. I hope I have not upset anybody with my interpretation of prayers. But I would like to just say that when my father last time in 1985, a Manpatra was given to him. He concluded his speech with these words, which I would like to share with all of you, as it is so pertinent to today's get-together. I'll read it out. He said, my father said, God does not look at the oratory of your prayers, how eloquent they are, nor at the arithmetic, how many they are, nor at their logic, how methodical they are, but he looks at the sincerity of your prayers, how spiritual they are. He looks at the sincerity of your prayers, how spiritual they are. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. I hope I didn't disturb anybody's thinking with what I said. Thank you. Bye-bye.
That was a very good aspect. You just heard it. As Mami says, that was a very beautiful aspect that you brought out, Avari Sahib. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as we reflect upon this, maybe please think for a moment about the beautiful things our speakers have talked about, and then we'll start taking your specific questions for clarification. So we've heard about not just the prayers that Baba Meher selected for the day, but also the Yasna 7, the Hapt and Yasht, the meaning of Yazamaydi, and we have a question on that. The importance of a prayerful life, the importance of choosing to live a life with an impact of words and being mindful of them. We thought about the Yenghe Haataam on an important day. We've talked about humility, the importance of growing together as a family, the inspiration from our parents, the importance of sharing wealth, creating jobs, funding others, jobs for everyone, choosing Bahumana, and like Avari Sahib said, pray and put your shoulder to work. Start taking questions now. There was a lot to take in today. Thank you all our wonderful speakers. Our first question is a specific question from our Vakil to whichever speaker would like to take it, but I assume it will be Bagli Sahib to you. What is the role of ritual in living a prayerful life? If our Vakil would unmute, if they want to elaborate further, after Ervad Sahib Bagli finishes, please feel free to comment.
But the rituals in life are simply to express the basic philosophical implications in the religion, to remind people that, in fact, they have to try and practice what they're praying. And the rituals are an expression of that, particularly the basic concepts of the teachings of Asho Zarathushtra.
Thank you, Jehan Bagli Sahib. We have a question from Rashida Todiwala. What is the significance of the 21 Yathas and the 12 Ashambahus that occur in prayers such as the Hoshbam, the Patet, etc.?
The 21 Yatha and 12 Ashem. We have to realize that Yatha Huvario has 21 words. Ashem Vohu has 12 words. And it is for each word in the prayer that we are reciting this, the entire prayer.
If anybody would like to unmute themselves from this question so far, feel free to do so. Otherwise, we have a question from Teshtar. Is Teshtar here? Would you like to ask your question yourself? Teshtar says, rituals are a physical manifestation of the tenets. A jashan can be a ritual showing gratitude. Would you like to comment on jashans, Ervad Bagli?
The Jahan prayer, in fact, is a prayer where we are offering our thanks to the Creator. And we have in the Jahan prayer, we have in front of us almost all the creations, the fruits, the plants, the animal products, the human being, and the fire. All these are represented in front of us at the Jahan prayer, and particularly during the Afringan prayer, there is a ritual where we have flower exchange taking place, and that flower exchange has very strong implications. Particularly, the two priests praying in front of the fire represent. One represents the chief priest represents, senior priest rather represents the Menog world, the world of the spirit, and the junior priest represents the physical existence. And there is an exchange between the two that is shown through the flower exchange that is indicated that there is a connection between the spiritual and the physical all the time.
Thank you, Ervad Sahib Jehan Bagli. We have many comments of praise for all our speakers, and I request you to read those as I'm going through for specific questions. While I'm going through this, Yazdi, we have a share from Dr. Shehnaz Kama for the Parzor, echoing the wonderful Fezana talks yesterday of the Fezana representation to the UN. And I hope people attended the Fezana talk yesterday for our young people attending or representing us at the UN. Sheherezad Kapadia is one of them. Yazdi, would you like to play that share, please? When you're ready.
Thank you, friends, for allowing us to speak today. And I request you all to join Parzor at the UN Women NGO CSW in New York. We are speaking about care for creation, the Zoroastrian tradition. Zoroastrianism is a Bronze Age faith with great relevance in a postmodern world. However, very few people have heard about this culture. Its emphasis on ecology, equity, and respect for all life makes it a universal message. In our world today, its prayers give a message of hope and faith. Through symbol and story with videos and illustrations, we hope you will be with us to learn about a culture which once spread from Europe to China, but is in danger of disappearing due to lack of numbers. Care for creation is all the more urgent in a post-COVID world. We look forward to sharing an ancient message with you and taking it forward into the future.
Thank you. If anyone else has any shares, this is now the time for an open platform. I'd like to call upon Saurabh, if Saurabh can please unmute himself, because he has brought out some of the work that Jahaan Kotwal has done. So if Saurabh is still with us on the platform, in which case, please, could you bring up this concept of improving the lives of people as Jehan has done and comment?
I think you got the wrong Saurabh.
Okay.
I think you got the wrong Saurabh.
Okay. Thank you for being with us anyway. So Saurabh says, Jehan, a very powerful speech, ever onwards to further glory. So I'd like to actually ask a question to
Oh yeah,
Ervad.
sorry, it's me. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's me.
Go ahead. Do you want to say something?
Yeah. The way he said about his father being a hard worker and being a trucker, always hard work, always pays in the long run. So I know personally, I've seen Jahan when I was in Pune, and I was seeing this young boy flourish. So I appreciate what he said. It was a very powerful speech, and I was very much impressed by it.
They've also brought out insurance for their truck drivers and other drivers, which I think is a very powerful concept. Jehan, would you like to comment upon that at a COVID time, a very difficult time for any business?
Yeah, sure. So I think in India, for people who are not aware, trucking is very unorganized. And, when you lead a large sum of people, I think we have over 250 odd people now in the company. It becomes a very big challenge to be competitively advantaged. I mean, to be having that competitive advantage when you're competing against legacy players. I think one of the challenges we faced during COVID, like everybody did, and what Mr. Byram did with his staff as well, is something that we emulated, and we realized that during tough times, we as the community need to stand up and actually put our best foot forward, work harder, try and make sure that the people who depend on us and livelihood shouldn't be suffering in any form. And ideally, I think that's what real entrepreneurship is. We paid everybody's salaries on time, everybody who was ever working with us. And this year as well, in India, hardly, I believe, less than 0.5% of the trucking community insures their drivers. We are one of them. And it's only the multinationals actually that do. We're one of the very, very few, hardly 2 or 3 companies in India that actually do this. And so we've made sure that all the drivers, their families will also be insured. Our NGO is working towards raising about a $50 to $60 million fundraise for trying to ensure the entire country's 8 million truck drivers. So there's a lot of work that is happening. And I think what I'm trying to say is that each one in our own vertical, whether it's Mahshad or whether it's Byram, any of the people, speakers, we all are unique in our own verticals and we can all do our best. And I think that's what fundamentally is important to understand. With the good mind, Vahumano, I think it's very much possible. Thank you so much, Saurabh, and I really appreciate your kind words. Thank you.
Yeah, Jahan, I was running a business on the Bombay-Pune highway in Kharki. So I see all the accidents on the freeway. So there's a zero safety there on the freeway. And when I was there, when I was young there, I saw a lot of accidents. And the safety factor is very important. Because I think in India, it's zero safety there, the way they run the trucks on the Bombay-Pune highway.
True.
Yeah. So God bless you and thank you so much.
Respected Mr. Kayomarsh Mehta is with us with a comment on what is a prayer. Mr. Mehta, would you like to read out your comment or make any comment, please?
For God's sake, speak louder.
Thank you, Karishma. All I wanted to share was that we have a concept in our religion which is called the Ganje Dadar, means whatever one has been given or blessed with, whether it be knowledge, whether it be wealth, or any other qualities, we need to thank God for that and then reciprocate our thankfulness by sharing it with others. Help others whenever we can. And to me, that is a prayer by itself. Just by doing what we are expected to do. And that is the concept of our World Zoroastrian Organization. And we are trying to do that to our best in the United States and North America. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There is a comment from Mr. R. Vakil. It's actually to me, but it may be worthwhile to read it out. The Pav Mahal Kriyas in the Vendidad are not for the layperson. They're highly trained priests who do this. They can only be done in India. What would we lose in terms of religious input if this knowledge and ability is lost? I won't put that as a question to anybody right now, but it is for us to contemplate and think. It's another aspect of the prayers. We have hands raised from Eric and Mobedyaar Manik Bhujwala. May I please ask Mobedyaar Manik Bhujwala to unmute himself and speak? And then please, Eric.
Yeah, thank you for allowing me to make my comment. After listening to the comment by Ms. Kama from Parzor, you know, that our community, our religion is hardly known by most of the people, you know, in the world, and even in our own home country of India, you know, except for those people who live in the big cities. I would like to urge people from our community, adults and youth, to join interfaith organizations, you know, and this is a great way to educate other communities, other religious communities about our religion and about the great teachings of our prophet and about our establishment of many associations, you know, like the ones I started with in Los Angeles and Northern California. I started a couple of associations over there. But people don't know about us, you know, and so I think that would be one way to try to educate people of the world about our religion and about our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mobedyaar Manik Bhujwala. We have several people actually who've done exactly what you've said. So we have Mr. and Mrs. Revetna here. We have Kayomash Mehta. We also have Mr. Jangir Sarosh. Of course, Meher Amalsad. We've got Rohinton Munshi. We've got several people who are actually participants in several interfaith activities, representing the concept of being stronger together. With that, may I please actually first call upon Mr. Jangir Sarosh to make his comment and ask his question.
Hello, thank you very much for the opportunity, Karishma, and wonderful to be with you, especially Ervad Bagli. Lovely to see you after such a long time. My question is related to young people that I work with of different faith and different communities. And many of them at the moment are saying something to the extent of, I'm no more religious, I am not religious, but I am spiritual. And here I would love to hear the wisdom of Ervad Bagli, if there is a difference, or how can one convince the young people to think of their own religion with respect and not abandon it simply because of the institutional problems within the faith community.
That's a
Ervad Sahib, Jehan Bagli, please will you answer Jangir's question? Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was wondering about that. As far as the young people are concerned, I have noticed that many young Zoroastrians are trying to live their religion through actions, and I think that is a good thing for them to express their spirituality through actions and helping people. That, I think, is the most important thing that we need to drive among them, that humanity is oneness among the humanity. There is oneness among the humanity through the divine essence in each one of us. And I think that that is when we try to do that, we are trying to bring together an expression of the existence of the spiritual divinity among us. And I think that is what we need to bring to the attention of the younger people. Thank you.
I think that's a beautiful point at which we will start to close. I'd like to bring up a concept, a little poem that my mother taught me when I was quite young. Actually, she's here with me today. So could you please give us your poem on others, Lord, others, let that my motto be?
When I was a little child, I used to go from person to person in a party or gathering and say, I've got so much love in my heart. Who shall I give it to? Who shall I give it to? So somebody would say, pick this up for me. I would pick it up. But what has that got to do with my love for you? I want to kiss you. I want to hug you. And that started off my trip on others. I wrote a small couplet when I was probably about 7 years old. Others, Lord, others, let this my motto be. Help me to help the others, that I may live for thee. And I've ever after followed my motto and done whatever I could in this world, wherever I passed by, whatever I saw needed doing, I've always stood by it. I've always tried my best. And being a nurse, I have looked after lots of patients in my life, brought out a lot of children, helped the suffering mothers. Being a teacher, I have looked after students, taught them free of charge. Whatever I could do in my power, I have tried to fulfill.
And together with the ideas of Baba Meher, we've resulted in this global fellowship of a oneness and a fellowship of collective consciousness. Thank you, Baba Meher. Thank you all our wonderful speakers today. Thank you all for sharing your thoughts with us and contributing to this. Thank you for all those people who have created organizations around the world, all the interfaith activities, everything. And for the greatest gratitude to Asho Zarathushtra. So what we've just heard, actually, Asho Zarathushtra has said in the Ahunavar Gatha, Yaya yasa nemanga ushtana zashto rafedraya. The concept is very much about upliftment, about good thoughts, leading to with the good wisdom of the mind, leading to working for uplifting everyone with good deeds. And we've heard so much about that. In the next slide, we would like to give gratitude to Asho Zarathushtra by celebrating Asho Zarathushtra's birthday. So Khordad Sal will be celebrated by, the next slide, Yazdi, please. Ba Humata will be celebrating Khordad Sal by both calendars. And on the 28th of March, at the same time as today, we will celebrate with a series of talks. We also have an active event on Facebook through growing things and sharing through the spirit of the Ahunavar to grow seeds on good organic soil, record and document it, use the wisdom of our good mind to make good choices, and then share that knowledge of the good earth and the good world with everybody. So our title of the talk on the 28th of March is Nature Rejoices Khordad Sal. So please join us. There is a beautiful comment by Zareen Karani Aroz. Please, would you like to read out your comment? Zareen? She says, my mother always said, besides all that she prayed. Yes, please go ahead. It's all about family. We're a big family together. Go ahead.
That's very kind of you. No, my mother always told us that it's really how you live your life. If you live for others and helping them and you live in love, that is your first prayer. Praying helps, and she prayed every day, but it's really how you live your life. That's how I remember my mother.
Very true, very true.
Thank you very much, Zareen Karani Haroz, for sharing that with us.
For the opportunity, even after you closed.
Thank you very much. And thank you to all the elders who are guiding us through our life, being our parents in a global citizenship of the world today. And thank you to all those young leaders, including Jehan, Sherry, for what you're doing to be the leaders of tomorrow and leading us in the now into the future. So with that sentiment, somebody wants the post. So with that sentiment, I'll put the post that Mummy said, but also Yazdi Tantra, our COVID hero, said all recordings will be available at Zoroastrians.net, category Bahumata. Thank you, Yazdi. If anybody else wants to stay on and say something for another few minutes, please do. I'll just put a little note in. With that, we'll say bye-bye to everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ervad Sahib Jehan Bagli. Thank you, Mr. Byram Avari. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Jehan. And thank you very much, Mobedyaar Mahshad. Thank you, all the greats from around the world, all the little ones, and a very special mention, if I may, to a very young, maybe about a 5-year-old, and Baba Meher also noticed this, who was on the show last time. Baba Meher, would you like to unmute yourself and speak about that little cutie pie?
You didn't talk about Mehran.
Though I don't know that young lady, but I was quite amazed at what kind of focus she had for the entire program. That was outstandingly amazing. That is what our future generation is all about. God bless you.
I'd also like to give a special mention to Mawed Meherban Firuzgari in Iran, who's our guiding light. Thank you very much for what you're doing. I'll pass on our gratitude from all of us to him for teaching us, for teaching me very patiently, and for guiding us. Feel free to unmute yourself, say hello, say bye-bye, say whatever, it's all yours. As long as Yazdi doesn't close us down. So that
Delightful evening. Thank you very much, everybody. Delightful to be here with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Byram. It was nice to see you.
Thank you.
This is Nazneen Taylor from California.
Congratulations to all of you, especially Karishma, for putting us all together. Thank you.
I think that credit goes to Mr. Meher Amalsad for making it possible, for facilitating this whole global network of a collective consciousness.
Thank you from Sue. Thank you from Sue.
Everybody.
Before we all go, may I please request Ervad Sahib Jehan Bagli to give us a hambandagi. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Father.
Yathahu Vaidyo Yatharathustra Chit Hacha Vangebush Dasdamanangho Shotnanam Angebush Mazdai Chatrem Cha Ahuraya Indre Gopyo Nadat Vastarem Yathahu Vaidyo Yatharathustra Chit Hacha Vangebush Dasdamanangho Shotnanam Angebush Masai Chatrem Cha Ahuraya Indre Gopyo Dadat Vastarem Yenghe Haataam Atyasne Paiti Vangho Mazdao Vaitha Shacha Yangam Tascha Tauscha Yadamaite Ashem Vohu Vahishtamasti Ushtasti Ushta Ahmai Yah Ahmai Vahishtamai Ashem. Thank you.
Hamazor, Hama Ashobad, Ervad Sahib, thank you very much for the blessing.
Thank you.
And to all those around the world struggling, may things get better for you. To our very own Ervad Mohammed Sahib Soli P. Dastur, may you get stronger. May you be with us soon. And thank you for all that you're doing for us.
Thank you.
May we close now, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Yazdi Tatra, for your technology and for supporting us through this. When you're ready, please close. Thank you. And please save the chat for all of us.